As I think about a moment when I first became aware of gender, it would actually be when I was about a year and a half old. And my father had probably told me this story before, but I guess at a year and a half I was able to remember. And he said that he had spent many months in his Marine Corps battalion, excitedly telling everybody that his son was on his way. And I was born as a first child, eventually out of four, to two wonderful parents who came to realize that gender has its place, but that excellence is ungendered and that the world would be ahead of me. Penn, to me, for most of the years of my childhood and up until I went to college, was the Penn Relays. I and my community felt very little connection with this university. Penn still felt like an alien place to me, unwelcoming, with its back turned to me and to my community, men and women. I remember coming to the campus and wondering about what went on literally behind walls, because at that time Penn was, most of the buildings were inward facing on campus, and we sort of milled around in the crowds at the relays. And I began to think about what life must be behind the wall. I next came to Penn and had my next first when I was interviewed for a position that opened up literally a week after I had passed my doctoral defense in August of 1976. Actually, August of 1977. And the position vacancy was that of assistant to the Vice Provost for University Life. When I was appointed and showed up that first day, I had gotten behind the wall, it felt like. And I was uneasy, but confident. And I spent those next days in a world that felt very much unlike my city. And I felt for some period of time very much alone. Many people were quite cordial, but I found myself very often the only woman in a particular room when there were meetings. I found myself the only person of color in a room when there were many meetings. And at the time, I had just turned 25 years old. And I found myself the youngest person in many meetings. And I did feel quite a sense of alienation as I tried to come to know this university. And I also resolved that whatever her story I might be able to build at Penn, I would ensure included work for the inclusion of women, of people of color, and of young folks from the city of Philadelphia and around the world in whichever way I could. I knew that women had the capacity to do whatever they wanted to do and be, because my family said this was so, and because I saw this evidenced at Girls High, I had high expectations that this was the norm. There were constant reminders as I moved through those days and as I look back at it, that women were not present at Penn, certainly in the ways that they are now in 1977. For me, the movement that was civil rights for African Americans, for women, for LGBT community members, for anyone else who felt that she or he could not have a voice, meant that I was istic. So I don't know what the preface was to the ist, but I've always been an activist. Feminism to me has been a part of it's been a thread in a fabric of activism in my life. I am pro-people, and I believe that every person has the right to voice her or his opinion in a way that is unfettered. I believe that people have the right to strive for positions and for power and for possibilities that are the right to access resources should be an individual's right, and an individual should be able to go as far as she or he is able to go. And I think impediments to voice are something that I adamantly oppose. What the PWC was is people with charm, care, charisma, and calm that helped me get through my days and welcome me and welcome my children. It's still a place with people and programs that promote possibilities for students and faculty and staff and community members who thrive in its presence. People need to find places and homes on campus that nurture their spirit. I believe that the Penn Women's Center is such a place. The advice that I would give to Penn people is to be unwaveringly optimistic, even in the face of reality and rational thought. With community comes strength. With multiple voices comes songs. And with songs, the spirit is lifted and right prevails. The PWC to me was and is a welcome mat. When a welcome, it's more than a space. It's a compilation of wonderful people who have made a distant and sometimes difficult community home for me.